Just finished West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 3, and it's only a friendly, and I appreciate it's only a friendly. That's a disclaimer over and done with. However, I think it's naive and foolish to think you can just completely ignore everything in friendlies. You can maybe take it with a pinch of salt, ignore the result. But in terms of individual player performances, in terms of the new formation, the new system, new tactics, I think you're well within your right to be looking for evidence of such things and some positivity you can take out of that game going into the Aston Villa one. The season kicks off in 2 weeks' time. We're sort of at the business end of pre-season. Now, this game had a little bit of disruption earlier on because West Ham actually played Crystal Palace in a behind closed doors friendly in case the weather postponed the game. So last week we played Wolves. Weather was all over the gaff. It caused problems. So there was a fear that the game would get called off tonight. So as a result, the teams agreed to play a friendly, half an hour each way. And in that game, Paqueta played, Bowen played, Zuma, Ings, Cornet. None of them played tonight. They all played in the early game. West Ham won 3-0. Jared Bowen scored, Danny Ings scored, and blinking Maxwell Cornet scored. I've been waiting to see Cornet do something all pre-season. He finally does it, and it's a game that none of us can watch. So Cornet scored a goal, but none of us got to see it. It's just like the first game, pre-season friendly all over again. There's been a goal, but you ain't getting to see it. Anyway, so tonight, it was a strong team that Lopetegui fielded, however. You would only consider there to be one youngster in there, which was Freddie Potts. However, I'd consider him to be part of the first team squad now. So it was a strong side put out by Lopetegui. And coming into this one, I was just wanting to see an improvement, and I'll be honest with you, a significant improvement compared to last week against Wolves, because Wolves wiped the floor with us. I thought they were by far the better team. Lopetegui was angry. He was angry again tonight. He did not look happy, constantly shouting and pointing, ignoring players as they were coming off, being substituted off. He was not a happy manager, and I completely understand why, because we were just as bad, if not worse in some regards. There's maybe some players that were better than last week, but they were few and far between. There was a lot of question marks, even over the formation. I've just done the watch along. Between us and the live chat, we couldn't even agree with the formation we were playing in the first half. It was, and that's never a good sign when everybody's watching the same thing, but everybody's got different opinions as to what is happening. That suggests it's not very clear, and I think that is true. Now we're going to discuss the game, the 4 goals, and some individual players. But while you're here, please do drop a like on it by the video, that is, by clicking the thumbs up and subscribing if you're new to Hammers Chat as well. It's a bit ambitious, but it'd be nice to hit 40,000 subscribers before we take on Aston Villa. So we need a lot of new subscribers, 500 in the next 2 weeks. But so please do subscribe and drop a like on it. Right. It took 30 seconds for them to score. And let me get my scorers up. Mitchell scored. The ball went down the right. Klein swung it in. Soufal just missed it. It was an easy clearance for Soufal. Completely missed it. Fell to Mitchell. Great finish. Fabianski, no chance. Unfortunately, Soufal was going to continue with this unimpressive performance. I thought he looked really sloppy. I thought his passes were wayward. I thought his positioning was a bit suspicious as well. He did almost score from the corner flag, though. At one point, he was running down the middle of the pitch, chasing a high ball. But I thought he got a little bit better as the first half went on, and he calmed down a bit. But the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought he was all over the place and really struggling, but certainly at fault for Crystal Palace's first goal. We made it 1-1. Michail Antonio, 21st minute, bad defending by Anderson this time. High ball. He tried to pass it to Richards, gets it all wrong. Antonio's in and away. Quite a decent time to run with it, Antonio. And sometimes this is the ones you can sometimes get wrong. He's a little bit better instinctively, perhaps, but very composed, very calm. Great finish by Antonio, to be honest with you. And I thought he went on to have a good game. Actually, Antonio, I thought his hold-up play was good. I thought his passing was good. I thought his runs was good. I thought he looked fit. He looked motivated. I was impressed by Antonio, and it's slim pickings. I actually thought he was our better player tonight from everybody involved. I think Antonio was our most impressive player. Not a great performance by any means. He didn't have to be 10 out of 10 in order to get that accolade tonight, but I thought he was one of the few that came out with quite a bit of credit. Went in 1-1 at half-time. I was hoping to see an improvement in the second half, truth be told. I think we got worse. We had an additional centre-back and defensively got worse. We started the second half with Mavropanos, Eduoard and Kilman at the back. And the only time we really had a ball, and this was something we were going to see consistently throughout the game, but the second half in particular, they'd pass it around between the centre-backs. It was just a case of who's going long. Will it be Kilman, Eduoard? Which one of you is just going to do that 40-yard pass? And they weren't working. The long passes, they have been impressive in other pre-season games, but they weren't tonight. They were sort of overhit, inaccurate. The Palace defence were fine. Richards, Raki, Anderson, they were okay with them. They were dealing with them. Barely seen Kudus in the second half. I think he looked good in the first half. A few really good runs from Kudus, his usual powerful self. Gave the ball away on a couple of occasions, cheap play, but we had very little. So whenever something half decent happens, you cling to it. And that's what I was doing with Kudus in the first half. But the second half, I didn't see him at all. I forgot he was on the pitch sometimes. You know, Guilherme eventually came on. Barely seen him whatsoever. Our attacking players didn't really get much of the ball in the second half, especially. But the game would continue. We'd continue to struggle. And eventually Crystal Palace made it 2-1 in the 66th minute through Jeffrey Schlupp. Ball out to Ayew. Emerson didn't really close him down. Half decent cross in. Schlupp had a hell of a lot to do. He got there before Mavropanos and a looping header into the far corner. No chance for Lucas Fabianski. But it was just, you watch it and you just think everybody could just be doing a little bit better. Souček could initially do a bit better. Emerson could do better. Mavropanos could do better. Fabianski couldn't. He's the only one I'm letting off with that one. They made it 3-1 a handful of minutes later through Eduoard, Schlupp turn provider this time. And when I say Schlupp time provider, it's the worst assist you'll ever see. Ball back to Eduoard, takes his touch on his left foot. Schlupp is right in front of him and decides I'm just going to boot it up the pitch anyway. Hits Schlupp, goes to Eduoard, up against Kilman, and it made Kilman look like a 40p player, never mind a 40 million pound player. Look, 40 pence looked expensive for him at this point. Just flicked it round him and then put the ball under Fabianski. Now, Fabianski, I'm going to let off with the first two. Could have done better with that one. However, it was overshadowed by the poor defending by Max Kilman in particular. It was not great from him. We made plenty of changes throughout the second half. The likes of Marshall coming on, Kadua came on, Irving came on. Very little difference. Guilherme, like I said earlier, Guilherme came on, didn't see him whatsoever. There's a lot of huff and puff out there by some of our boys. Ward-Prowse in particular was working hard. I thought Souček worked hard, but I'll be honest with you, I thought he looked terrible again. Not a good performance. And I know it's only pre-season and people say calm down and whatnot. And listen, when we play Aston Villa in 2 weeks, half those players at least won't play. We will have Bowen, Paqueta. We will possibly have Rodriguez, Wan-Bissaka. It'll be different. And I'm not concerned about the result. But I was hoping to see a significant difference compared to last week. And like I said, there just wasn't any. Am I worried? Not really. Just frustrated. I guess frustrated. There wasn't any obvious signs of improvement. And last week we played a Wolves side that I've got their stuff sorted under Gary O'Neill, and I think the same thing happened today. They played the typical way under Glasner that we've seen them do last season, Crystal Palace, and they were missing a lot of players as well. Well, that's not our first team. That's definitely not Crystal Palace's first team. They're missing the core of the team. No Mark Gay, no Wharton, no Eze, no Mateta. They were missing a lot of players, but they were the most comfortable team out there by far tonight, in possession, out of possession. We looked uncomfortable in possession and we looked even more uncomfortable out of possession. There's quite a bit of work here for Lopetegui to do to get us ready for the Aston Villa game. Fortunately, he's got 2 weeks. We've got Celta Vigo on Saturday. So while, like I said, it's pre-season, I know people are going to say, oh, calm down and stuff, but I'm lacking sleep. I'm grumpy, all right? Not had much sleep last 2 nights. It's currently 2:05 in the morning. I'm a little bit grumpy. But I was hoping to see more tonight. Even if either tactically or player performance, either the tactics are bob on, the players just aren't up to scratch, but you can see what Lopetegui is trying to implement, you can see what he's trying to do, but the players just aren't doing what he's requiring. I didn't really see that many signs of patterns of play. That the one obvious tactic is that 40-yard pass from centre-backs, and it will work, I'm sure, but it didn't tonight. Individual players, even if the tactics ain't there, as long as the players are playing well individually, then we should see a good performance. But that wasn't there either. It was just a bit of a miserable performance from West Ham, actually. You know, last week was bad against Wolves. I think the second half today was just as bad. The first half was slightly better. There was some positives to take from it. We weren't great, but there was some bits of play going on. There was some okay performances throughout the team, but the second half there was just absolutely nothing. I thought Callum Marshall had a few good touches when he came on, which is pleasing because I thought he had similar against Wolves last week. I thought Potts struggled in the first half today, but a lot of players just not sharp enough. This is what pre-season's for. They'll get their fitness up, get their match sharpness up, but yeah, maybe I'm alone here. Just expected a little bit more from West Ham. However, I don't think I'm alone. I think Lopetegui was expecting a bit more. Certainly, his actions on the touchline suggest he was. Not a happy head coach out there. And post-interview last week, he was not happy. And I liked it. I don't think he's going to be happy tonight. I'm going to like that as well. But that's it. That's the end of our tour of America. Back to England to go. We've obviously got Crescencio Somerville to meet up with the teammates as well. Hopefully, we can get a couple of new deals over the line before the Celta Vigo game too. So fingers crossed for a much improved performance next week. That's what I had my fingers crossed for the last week, as well as some new signings. I've got that. Well, signing, plural, but major progress elsewhere. But didn't get my improvement on the pitch. Bit frustrating, but saying that, we won 3-0 beforehand. If only they showed that game instead of the 3-1 defeat we've just got given by Crystal Palace. Anyway, I'm going to be live later on today. Unsure what time. It'll be later on in the afternoon, so keep your eyes out. I'll do a community post. So if you're kicking about round about 4 or 5 o'clock on Sunday, do come and join me in the live chat. I would like to get your thoughts on Somerville, your thoughts on Fulkrug, your thoughts on Rodriguez, and your thoughts on tonight's performance against Crystal Palace. Do get involved in the comments below as well, and I'll catch up with you later on today in the live stream. Before you go, though, drop a like on the video, subscribe to Hammers Chat, and I'll catch you in a bit.